started. We can jump right in. So again, thank you all for being here. This is I3, our second session for data science, e-commerce, and technology. Students, Trojans, thank you for tuning in. I see that we're at 70 participants so far, which is amazing. Super excited to let you all hear from our employers today to give you some great advice and feedback and hear about the work that they do. So we have a couple of questions that we'd like to jump into. I am going to ask that all of you do answer this first question. Oh, wait, let me back up a little bit. We actually have our student org that is a sponsor here, Brandon Washington. I'm so sorry, I almost forgot. We're going to ask Brandon if you could unmute and just introduce yourself. Every I3, we do our best to partner with the student org on campus. An organization that is closely aligned with maybe the industry that we are doing a session on. And so Brandon, if you could unmute and just share a little bit about who you are and the organization that you are representing, and then we'll get started with some of the questions.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Rianne. I'll go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Brandon. I'm currently a junior at USC. I'm currently serving as the Senior Vice President of PHI, and it's my honor to share a little bit about PHI. PHI is a business society focused on training business-minded students and helping them develop business fundamentals. So you can think like resume and cover letter workshops to informational and case interviews. PHI is really a one-stop shop that I needed personally to successfully acquire my summer internship. And you can really see the caliber of students and members in our organization through our alumni placements and network. A lot of alumni work in places like Apple, Google, Boston Consulting Group, YouTube, and Deloitte, just to name a few. And so our network is very far reaching and a lot of our alumni are very successful. But above all, I take pride in our organization because we're a very tight-knit community. Just looking back in this past few years, a lot of the memories I have with friends and other people in the org are things like going on snowboarding trips, going to music festivals, and rallying before football games. So we create a lot of great memories together. So if any of you students are interested in joining our org or learning more about PHI, feel free to reach out to me. I'll go ahead and drop my email in the chat box below, and I'll also include a link to our website. Thanks so much for this opportunity. I'll go ahead and pass it back to Rianne.
Awesome. Thank you, Brandon. Please feel free to stick around and tune in. I know you might have class that you might have to get to. Our no Trojans are super busy, so don't feel bad if you have to dip out in a bit because you have some other student obligations. We know that you're a leader on campus and you're balancing that with being an academic as well, but we appreciate you for coming and telling us a little bit about your organization, and thank you for allowing us to partner with you. All right, great. So I will go ahead and get started. My name is Ryan. I'll be moderating the panel today. I'm joined here with my colleague Malika and Lauren. We're all from the Career Center in different departments, employer relations, and I'm a career advisor. So as I'm asking some of the questions, Malika and Lauren will be in the chat, just giving some information to students in real time, sending some links, and talking a little bit about Brazen as we transition later. So with all that being said, I will just go ahead according to my screen and call out some employers to just introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your organization. So Christine, if we could start with you, that'd be great.
Hi, I'm Christine. I'm the CEO, CFO of Lulu in Georgia, which is an e-commerce platform for home decor. We sell a lot of rugs and furniture. We're based here in Los Angeles. We have a team of about 60 employees, and yeah, we love to furnish your home.
Nice, awesome. Thank you, Christine. Min.
Hi, my name is Min Hubbard, and I've been working at AMI for about 4 years, which is located in USC main campus. And our mission is to help bridge the gap between biomedical innovation and creation of commercially successful medical products to improve and save lives. So I guess it's called like accelerator. So I hope to meet some students today and hopefully find someone suitable for our internship.
Nice, thank you. Karen.
Hi, I'm Kara Ann, and Joel is here with me. We are a digital printer and garment manufacturer that is leveraging technology through e-commerce sites to receive customized orders that we drop ship. Joel founded the company, and I've been working with him to evolve the technology that we're employing and how we're responding to customers' needs in both the garment and product space. Manufacture anything from jerseys to pillows to aprons to table runners to placemats to rugs.
Nice, thank you. Trevor.
Afternoon, thanks for joining us. I'm Trevor Ruble. I'm the president and COO of a company called Authvia, located in the LA area. We are probably the only one you know of. We provide text to pay capabilities for e-commerce merchants, for traditional brick and mortar merchants, for billers like utilities and municipalities. We allow these companies who are already texting with consumers to add a text-based payment request and receive credit card and debit card and ACH payments over text. So something I think probably all students are fairly familiar with is using text as the primary form of communication. And now we're adding commerce to those conversations. So look forward to the conversation today.
Awesome, thank you, Trevor. Melissa.
Hi, everybody. I am also here representing Lulu in Georgia. Christine talked about it as well as I could ever pretend to. So they're very much an up and coming business in e-commerce focused in elevated home decor. LA-based, founded, kind of home and grown, woman-led, woman CEO. And so, yeah, excited to talk to anybody that's curious to learn more.
Awesome, thank you. Yan Wen.
Hi, everybody. I'm Yang Wen, and I'm also working at AMI USC with Min. And Min has introduced our organization before, and I'm a research programmer at AMI. And my job mainly involves some software and hardware development for medical devices. And yeah, and today we are looking for some software engineer for the medical devices. Thank you.
Nice, thank you. Minal.
Yes, thank you so much for having us, me, myself, and Tanushri from Visa. We are super excited for USC candidates. They are super strong. I love having a one-on-one conversation with those candidates. Just fantabulous. But I really hope each and every one of us know who and what Visa does. But just to give a gist of it, we are a global payments technology company. We are not a card transaction company. So it's more about how we bring people together, we connect them through digital currency, and I'm very much looking forward to this event and connecting with each and every one of you. So thank you for having me, and really, really happy to see such strong panelists among ourselves. So yeah, hi.
Awesome, thank you. Tanushri.
Hi, everyone. As Meenal introduced me, I'm also from Visa. I'm here to find some good software engineers as well as other people interested in Visa and help them in order to understand what the company does and how we can support them to apply for the different opportunity that they are looking for in this company. So yeah, looking forward to interacting with the students.
Awesome, thank you. And last but not least, we have Alex.
Thank you, Rian. This has been a pleasure so far. Really a pleasure to connect with everybody. I enjoyed the sessions earlier. So my name is Alexander Maurice. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Stay Open. We are a hospitality brand that wishes to do the same thing that Uber did to the taxi industry for the hospitality industry. I actually come from a theoretical physics background, spent 12 years in academia, not at USC, but close by at Berkeley and Stanford. And then I transferred to machine learning and data science. So I've actually been doing some pretty hardcore data science for 10 years now. And it's really a pleasure to be in the hospitality space because there's so much potential for disruption.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for sharing and giving some insight to who you are and a little bit about your organization. All right, so we will jump into some questions. I saw one student question in the chat. Students, if you could hold your questions, if we have any time at the end, which we may or may not, we can open it up to students maybe then, but otherwise save all of your great questions for when you network with our panelists on Braze, and you're gonna have tons of time to chat with them. So if you can save your questions for then, or maybe if we have some time at the end, that would be great. All right, so the first question, and again, if you'd like to answer this, just hit the raise hand function, I'll call on you. So if you all could share your career path to your current role and talk a little bit about why you chose this particular industry. Nice, all right, so we'll go with Alex.
Well, yeah, certainly shared a little bit about this, but you know, I was one of these people that never thought I was going to do anything but mathematics all my life. And the reason I'm telling you guys this is that as you go out as students now, and you know, I've been an advisor for a number of students. One of the things I like to tell them is that you know, life is not a linear progression. Life will teach you skills at one point that you don't think you'll need for something else. And so when I left academia, I was looking at a really uphill battle learning how to code, because you know, a theoretical physicist doesn't need to really use a computer. So I did everything by hand. In retrospect, that skill set was something that was incredibly useful, doing all types of modeling for different companies, things like that. And then as I learned the coding skills, it became apparent that this was clearly the future. So, you know, no matter what people do now, like for instance, I talked to people that came from the journalism school today, and there was this clear emphasis that people, even though they're doing journalism, are learning how to code. And I would say that that's an incredibly important thing to do, because you can become essentially a completely new type of journalist if you know how to pull in vast amounts of data from the internet, organize it, parse it, understand what's there. Similarly with Stay Open right now, you know, it costs a lot of money. We're just a startup, but it costs a lot of money to get data from property owners to know what the real estate market's like and things like that. But you can write a scraper very quickly and basically scrape websites, and then you can get all that market data. And so, you know, my path has been incredibly interesting from the perspective that, you know, I never thought that working in mathematics would actually eventually get to the point where I'm building products, where I've built games, where I've built, you know, all these different things. So for everybody out there, if you choose a path right now, realize that it's something that is only going to add to your skill set, no matter what you do. Thank you.
I love that. We tell students that all the time. Your career development journey is not a linear one. You can go all over the place, but all the while you're learning great skills. So thank you for mentioning that. Trevor.
Yeah, I'll certainly echo that same thought. I, like many of the folks probably on today, I grew up coding. I come from a different era, so it was Fortran and assembly. Yes, I do remember what a punch card looks like, although no, I never had to code with one. I'm not quite that old. But I then went to university and studied aerospace engineering, thinking that I'd build great products. I discovered that in aerospace engineering, you build 3-inch by 5-inch parts. You don't actually get to make a space station yourself. Was a little disillusioned with that, and then ultimately decided to be an architecture and speech communication major. A long way from math, science, and computers. But immediately after that, I got a degree with a technology company in the Seattle area, and became a product manager, and found out that even with all that technology background and all those communication and soft art skills from architecture, what really building software products was all about was communicating, right? And so it was this combination of building things, communicating with people who wanted to use them, having the technical acumen to know the art of the possible, even if I wasn't going to do it. And one of the things that I'd really encourage as you guys think about internships is think about what other skills you might be able to develop over a 9, 10, 12-week process that you may or may not think are really critical to this next step, but are ultimately going to circle back and make you a more rounded, well-rounded team member. So it is a great opportunity. You know, in my era, we spent our summers playing. I'm not sure that, you know, folks these days have that opportunity, but you might as well spend your summer learning some additional skills in addition to is honing the skills that you know you want to study.
It's awesome. Thank you. It's great. Min.
I will reinforce that idea as well. My degrees is actually in physics, and I worked at Caltech for over 10 years in astrophysics and space sciences. But you know, with academia, funding can dwindle and things, so I transitioned to this position because my core skill set, you know, image processing, data analysis, and certainly programming helped me to adjust to this biomedical research area, which is really interesting for me since I'm learning all new stuff and, you know, still be able to have my skills help me through the, you know, tests. So, good points.
Love it. Thank you all for sharing. Okay. So our next question is, what are some of the challenges and benefits to working in your industry? I always love asking this question for our students to give them an idea of, you know, all the great things, but also some of the more challenging aspects, whether it's working, you know, with different people, or maybe it being a high, fast-paced environment. So what are some of the challenges and benefits that you all have come across working in data science, e-commerce, or technology? Carrie Ann, go ahead.
So for us, we take orders in through the websites and we get our print files and stuff. It's all technology driven, but we're dealing with a customer. You've got someone that gets something, they're not happy with it. They're, you know, the packages get lost in the mail. I think one of my biggest bones of contention is dealing with FedEx or UPS or the Postal Service. So you're in an industry, we're employing technology, we're connecting, you know, on individual corporate web, you know, company websites that are linking back into our order management system to drop orders. And then we're drop shipping for the customers. And you have this whole other aspect of, you're not just dealing with computers and the manufacturing, you're dealing with the customer, the end user. You've got quality and, you know, different things. There's a tangible item at the end of what we're doing.
And I would imagine working now in a virtual space where, you know, shipping has had an uptick and deliveries have had an uptick, that might really be a challenge now working during a pandemic. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, we're actually dragging the consumer into the, I guess, 21st century in the apparel business, because the traditional delivery cycle and the traditional pipeline is being turned upside down. And we hope that we're at the leading edge of that. And by that, I mean, we want to make orders, not inventory. And by making on demand and making one of the product for an individual, but making thousands of them, which is what we do, is taking technology into a very staid, old industry with pipelines and that are 100 years old, and making that change. The hard part about it is to get people to believe that it can be done. And we've been doing this now for 5 or 6 years. And the hardest part of the whole thing is to convince a customer that that this actually can be done. And we are doing it, and we are shipping globally today. And finally, we're gaining traction and people are starting to believe. And perhaps this pandemic helped that transition, because more and more people now, of course, are buying on the web and or buying through e-commerce platforms. And that's where we get our orders from. So aggregated e-commerce platforms.
They sure are. I know I am. Tanushree. And please correct me if I'm saying your name incorrectly and keep on correcting me until I get it right.
No, it's correct. So one thing I actually wanted to point out was, as a developer, I've noticed that we tend to have a little more narrow focus when we are taking ownership of our tasks. But as an employee at Visa, the things that my manager and even the CEO encourages its employee to do is be a leader and look at everything with a bigger picture in mind. So when you are developing things or when you're designing things, you should actually think of how it could impact it in a bigger picture sense. So that is one thing that was initially challenging for me because I had a narrow focus. But then as I took up that challenge, it has actually helped me grow as a developer. And secondly, I would also like to point out is that instead of being reactive to different things and coming from payment systems risk team, that is something that I have learned over time. You have to think of how to be proactive, how to be predict how different I'm being more generic. So for me, it's how different frauds can occur. But yeah, you have to be more proactive to things. So yeah, those are my 2 cents. Thank you.
I love that. No, thank you for sharing. That's awesome. So we have so many students that are tuning in right now, and they love this interaction with you all to have the opportunity to hear directly from you. And so this is one of my favorite questions coming up because they can hear it right from the horse's mouth. What advice would you offer to students that are interested in a career in this particular industry? All right, we'll start off with Trevor.
So I think one of the most exciting things to think about as you look at the tech industry is really how it touches all facets of our lives today, right? You don't have to choose that I'm going to go be a data scientist, I'm going to go into academia or mathematics. You can say, I want to be in the fashion business, I want to be in the retail business, I want to be in the information services or the news business. And technology, data analytics, machine learning, they're going to touch all of that today. Certainly in the automotive business, we see it more and more. With that, though, the ability to communicate, written, verbal, non-written, new crazy skills with emojis that we're going to learn over Zoom and working as remote employees. Those are the soft skills that really make people, successful. I've had the opportunity to run some product groups, to lead some pretty big payments companies in the US and abroad. And the thing that we're looking for all the time is someone that is technical enough to know the art of the possible, will innovate on behalf of the customer, right? And ultimately will be a good team member with a great attitude. And so as you think about what you're doing here, the first job is when you get somewhere, listen and learn, understand what's going on, understand the task, and then figure out only then can you really contribute to the rest of the organization. So I think, we talk about some of the challenges. I usually joke being in the payments business, Visa is always our biggest challenge. They're also our biggest partner. So it's that type of industry where whenever you're in technology, you're not going to build something that's going to stand alone, right? It's going to be your partners, whether they're fintech and payment partners like Visa or your platform partners like Amazon. It's not just about coding. It's really about interacting with your team members and partners. And that's really where I think, today's graduates should be focused.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Mino, I don't know if Alex, you had your hand raised initially.
No, Trevor wrapped it up better than I could have said it. So right on.
Nice. Okay. Thank you. Mino, please go ahead.
I mean, I 100% agree with what Trevor has said. Each and every point is absolutely right. But honestly, from a very personal perspective, this is one thing that I always ask a candidate. So I'm working as a university sourcing recruiter, and one question that I always ask the candidate is this really what you want to be doing? Internship is that one particular area which is going to open your horizons. I am coming from a tech background, but I am not a coder, right? So it's internship is that one opportunity wherein you get to know that hey, you know what, I'm interested in maybe cyber. Oh no, I may be interested in product management. So it's all about opening your horizons and understanding if this is the path you really want to be going ahead. So that's very important.
Love that. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else that had some insight for this question or some advice to offer to students? If not, we can move on to the next question. All right, great. So thank you all for your responses. So you all have talked a little bit about your interns, and we're going to hear a little bit more about your internship program shortly. So when thinking about interns that you are bringing into your organization, what are some qualities that you all seek in an ideal intern? And additionally, what projects do you have your interns work on when you bring them on board? All right, awesome. Let's start with Christine.
Hi, I want to echo when, you know, the communication part as well, with what we're looking for is, especially in this world where we're all operating in Zoom and everything's done online and over Slack, having strong communication skills and listening skills is important. But for us, you know, we have culture is something that's really important. So having a really positive attitude, you know, being able to kind of pick up, you know, help out with whatever project, whether it's small, big, and just having a positive attitude. You know, I think if you're spending so much time in the workplace, it's important that you are there and you're enjoying it. So, you know, we try to make sure that we also have a fun work environment, that, you know, everyone is super polite and cordial and things like that. In terms of projects that we have for our interns, we're doing a lot of different upgrades to our technology. We're moving to a new ERP system. We are moving to a new e-commerce platform. So there's some big projects that are related to big initiatives. And then, you know, we also have a lot of different things like designer outreach, where, you know, we can have some of the interns working with designers to help put together suggestions if you're more interested, you know, on the interior design side or the product side. And so we kind of have a lot of different things from, and people who come to our company who are more interested on the creative, and some people who are more interested on the tech and data side, and more interested on, you know, the customer side. So really, and in terms of the interns that we're currently seeking for, it's within all the departments.
Nice, thank you, Christine. You know, it's actually interesting. The very first thing that you said, as far as what you're looking for, is to be positive. And that was the very first thing that our previous panelists said in the earlier session, was being positive and having a great attitude. So I really appreciate that sentiment being echoed, because the students can see, you know, it goes beyond your skill set, it goes beyond your experience. Employers really want to see an individual that they can work with, that's amicable, that they can get along with, that's a team player. So I appreciate you saying that. You know.
Yes, absolutely. I think Visa as a company, we value each and every candidate out there. We are all masters, undergraduate candidates. You know, we are doing different. We are pursuing education. We are strong. But what makes you different from rest of the world can be, in my opinion, it's not the technology. It's about how good you are when it comes to working with different people, you know, especially with different cultures. We value diversity more than anything. And I'm proud of it, you know, how Visa values diversity. So are you a team player in that sense is something that we are very much looking forward to see in you as a candidate. And very honestly, from a recruiter's perspective, it's not that we can call each and every candidate out there. So what is that one thing through which I can say that, yes, this player is, you know, this candidate is a team player. So, and that is why I ask each and every candidate to tell about their hobbies, their extracurriculars they have done, and add that in their resumes. And just don't be too technical, because you are brilliant, but what's the other thing that you're good at? And that's very important. And in terms of what kind of projects we have at this moment, I think we have a lot of projects both in the tech and non-tech domain as well. So we are looking for general software engineers. We are looking for business candidates. We are looking for master's candidates in the education field. So it's an open sea, and I'm happy to discuss this with each and every candidate out there in our one-on-one session. So yeah.
Love it. I feel so encouraged listening to you speak. It's like, you know what? I can go out and do anything. You know, I need to have you on my speed dial.
And that's the attitude Visa always says. Have it in yourself. You can do it. No one is perfect. I'm not perfect. I do not say that I know 10 on 10 stuff, right? But at least I can learn that thing. And that zeal to learn is more than enough for us. So yeah.
Love it. Zeal to learn. That's an amazing takeaway. Love that. Okay, so we'll go with Yanwen and then wrap up with Alex, and then we'll move on to the next question.
Okay, so as we are, AMI is a biomedical, we are in biomedical industry. So I think we are looking for interns not only very good at software or hardware, but also I think they should be willing to learn something in the biomedical field, and willing to make something that is very helpful for patients and can be can make other people's life better. And then in terms of projects, we have many different projects going on. Like for example, we have a years back project that is an OCT-based, well, optical coherence tomography based ear canal disease diagnosis system. It's using some laser to scan your ear canal and see what the cause of the hearing loss sort of thing. And then if you join us, you can work on either the back end or front end of the system based on your expertise and your skill set.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Yanwen.
Thank you.
Alex, did you still have something you wanted to share?
Just a quick dovetail with what Manal said is it's so good when you are at the stage in your life to be humble, because there's obviously I'm talking to overachievers here. You guys are at an amazing place and everybody is doing amazing work. But it's so great when we've had interns that say things like, "Oh, I actually don't know that, but I'd love to learn." That opens up the book because certainly coming from an overachiever background, I was never taught to say that. So I was always like, "Oh, I'll of course I figured this out." And then when you fail, it's because you don't ask questions. So just a small aside there with what Minal said, it's really good to just stay in that humble zone of nobody's an expert, nobody's perfect.
I love that. Thank you so much. Okay, so I know I've said this about the previous question being my favorite, but I think it's actually this one. So networking. Networking is huge. At the Career Center, we're always pushing our Trojans to network with employers, network with their professors, network with peers. And so we would love to hear you all's insight about networking because we know that it's a huge part of the internship search. So do you all have any tips or advice for our students when it comes to networking, and even more specifically when it comes to networking during, this pandemic in a virtual, our new virtual kind of reality? Any advice on that? Trevor, we can start with you.
First, I need to learn to use mute properly.
It's fine.
So will sound like a broken record. I've said this to other groups of students, but LinkedIn is the place to start. Now, obviously, you need to set yourself apart in the conversation and give someone a reason to click and accept your invite. But I can tell you, having run a number of companies, having built 6 different startups and worked at some big fintechs. It is very rare that I won't look at a LinkedIn request. And so if you can write something down and be honest and open and vulnerable in those first couple of sentences, tell me what you're looking for, there's usually either something I can do or someone I can forward it easily to and make that introduction. You guys are at a really unique spot in your life where people honestly want to help you. They see the hope and dreams that they once had, and they're really going to be very eager to help. You're not going to get a response back from everyone, but if you're polite and you reach out digitally to folks, go for it. The other thing I think to remember is, to quote maybe Game of Thrones, you know nothing. Don't assume you're going to reach out to the person who's going to hire you as an intern. The reality is you don't know what the jobs are. You haven't worked in these industries. I still go into companies and I don't know what all the jobs are. So be willing to go up and, I'd start with the CEO of a company, LinkedIn to them and say, these are the things that I'm good at. I'm looking for an internship in your organization, and let them figure out where they should go. Don't be too afraid to go too high in the organization. Now, obviously, if you know the department, do the research so that you have something to say. But you're going to have to put yourself out there to stand out. I think ultimately you're going to have to not so much show your hard skills, but really that you're an intellectual athlete, that you're a self-starter, that you're creative, and go from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Trevor. Anyone else regarding networking? Karen.
I mean, Trevor, spot on with LinkedIn, but better yet, use the school resources, find out where your alum are, find out where your parents' alum are, find out where your siblings' alum are, talk to people, just keep talking to people. Ask someone if they have 10 minutes to have a conversation, ask them for guidance, take them out for a cup of coffee. The person you reach out to might not be the person that can help you, but you might strike a note with them and they could say, hey, one of our designers, I was doing consulting work before I came full-time to help my husband with his business. And I worked with another consultant whose roommate had gone to the Fashion Institute. He was looking for a job. I put him in touch with Joel. He wasn't a fit, but he referred us to a friend. So it's just constantly selling yourself, talking about what you want, listening to what people say and what people do. And you'll find your path, because someone said it, and I apologize, I don't remember who. It's not linear. You're going to snake. Did I ever think with a BS in computer science I would be sitting literally in a factory applying technology to get garments out the door? Be open to possibility. Think about what your skill set is and how you can benefit someone else, how you can benefit a company, how you can expand yourself and help others expand.
Expand yourself and help others expand. I love that. You are dropping such great gems today. I'm taking this for myself as well when it comes to reaching out and networking, when it comes to support, expanding skill sets, not being afraid. 9 times out of 10, there are so many people that are willing to help us out, but we just don't realize it, or we're scared to just make that initial ask. So I think it's really helpful for our Trojans to hear from you, like, yeah, get on LinkedIn, send us a note, add us. If we don't know, who can help you, we can ask for you or anything like that. So I think that's great for them to hear directly from you all. Before we move on to our next question, anyone else with just any tips or advice when it comes to networking, particularly in a virtual space? If not, it's totally fine. No? Okay, cool. So our last question, actually, so maybe we'll get to a couple of student questions after all, just a couple. So I would think, especially being in technology, which most of you all are, a lot of you might use different systems to identify certain applications, maybe like using applicant tracking systems, especially if you have a lot of candidates. So as students are doing their applications, sending their resumes, sending cover letters, anything like that, what are some things that our Trojans can do to stand out for the right reasons when they are completing their application and applying to your great internship programs? All right, let's start with Melissa.
All right, we actually don't have a formal application tracking system, but what that means, luckily, is that you have a human then truly kind of looking at what you're sending us. And so I would say that if you are genuinely interested in interning for anybody here, mean, they're the basics, but I think you wanna do your research. It's really easy to send a templated cover letter. I get it. I've been there. I've done it. But I'll tell you, it's pretty ineffective. And so I'd really strongly recommend doing a bit of research, really tailoring your letters and your outreach to the companies that you're interested in. It sounds really basic, but I can assure you that it will kind of take you at least into the next step of the recruitment process. And ultimately from there, I think at this point in your careers, you're not going to rely, and people have said this differently throughout this meeting, but you're not going to really rely on your experience up to this point. You're going to rely on who you are as a person, and what you bring to the table, not in terms of tangible experience, but in terms of your approach to work ethic, your approach to learning new ideas, your ability to proactively communicate and ask questions, your ability to work as part of a team. And so I would think about, if I were somebody looking for an internship right now, I'd think of experiences that I have in my past, whether they are kind of at work experiences or at different internships or just in your personal life that give meaning to all of those areas. And I'd put that inside of a cover letter, or I'd highlight that inside of my resume if I have kind of a resume to share at that point. And so those types of kind of personal call outs, both for the company that you're looking to intern with and for your own experience, I can kind of guarantee you that will move you forward versus the to whom it may concern and to the resume that I've sent 5,000 million times. That would be my 2 cents.
It's awesome. There's nothing that I enjoy hearing more than employers echoing what we say at the Career Center to our students all the time. The tailoring of the resume is something we're always telling our students, because they'll say, oh, I've applied to 100 jobs. I haven't heard anything back. And it's like, well, you have to tailor your resume. You have to show how you're a good fit for that particular position. So it's always nice to hear you all as panelists saying some of the things that we're telling our students, because it lets us know that we're on the right track and we're not leading our students astray. And it kind of affirms our students because they're hearing these same things from different places. So thank you for that insight. Min, I think I saw your hand raised briefly. I don't know if you still wanted to share. You're more than welcome to.
I just wanted to highlight the importance of the cover letter. You know, resumes, you might have just one set of resumes maybe ready to go, and last minute changes to resume and, you know, messing up on the format and other things may not be something you want to deal with. However, those cover letters are very important, that, you know, you need to emphasize how you're a good fit, a good candidate for the position, and what, you know, good things you can add to the organization is very important.
Nice, great, thank you. Trevor.
One other detail on this, and it's if I'm on the other end of what we're all saying here, it's sounding like a lot of work. Frankly, I got to apply for 30 internships. I got to apply after that. That's 30 things I got to research, 30 times I have to customize it. I got into computers so I could write the code once. It would execute thousands of times. I should be able to mail merge this thing and be done. I get it. And it does sound like a lot of work when I hear it from everyone. But what I can tell you is that as employers, if we want people who can write code and mail merge things and get it done, we're not going to USC to find undergraduate or graduate students at USC. Right? I can go hire those in a cheaper market, cheaper people, and I can scale it, you know, on a global basis. What we're looking for, people who are going to do that extra piece of work, are going to think about the problem, are going to customize the solution. And a part of what we see when we see that cover letter, whether it's a note on LinkedIn, whether it's a comment on something that, you know, I or someone else here posted, is that you are doing that extra work to sort of do the bridge from the real world problem, from the operational thing, you know, gotcha that Kara Ann mentioned, right, to the technology. And showing that bridge is really how you differentiate yourself in a computer science, in an e-commerce, in a technology job, is being that participant who can do that bridge.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Trevor. Mina.
Yes, absolutely. So I actually have 2 points to mention here. You know, my job is all about looking at the resumes and making sure that, you know, candidate is aligned to what we have at the company at the moment. But what I've been seeing is candidates are just amazing. A candidate who is, let's say, is doing an undergraduate in computer sciences, might have some internship experience in financial analyst role. So there is a lot of difference. These are two different things. But I've always advised the candidates to have just a one-liner summary on the top of their resume before education saying that, hey, hi, I am doing so and so, but I'm very much looking forward to, roles as that of, let's say, software engineering or program managers or test engineering. It just gives myself or a recruiter a lot of options, a lot of different fields, a lot of different ideas to map your profile with whatever opportunities we have. You might have just applied to one position, but at the back end where I am, right, we know we have 10 other positions to look out at. So my job here is that if your application is coming through our ADS, I should be able to map you out to all those 10 opportunities, but I should know that what are those roles that you are really open, you are open to working at. So that's really, really important. I think second piece of advice is coming from my own personal experience back, I don't know, 4 or 5 years back when I was like trying to find a job. We all have been there in your shoes and candidates' shoes, and it's really hard out there, and I completely respect it. The way I have always reached out when I was applying to various opportunities out there in the market, and I was going ahead on LinkedIn, yes, trying to figure out different recruiters who are working in the similar market, in the similar region. Let's say that I'm applying for a job for visa in Austin location. I'll be going and finding any recruiter in Austin, in Texas area, and maybe, just sending a hi, hey, hi, tailor that message. Do not write paragraphs, just 3-liner, 4-liner, end of story. Hey, hi, I've applied to this application. If you can just have a look at that, believe me, we are looking at those messaging, and we are really looking into your applications on our ADS. That's really important.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Meenal. That's great. All this feedback has been so helpful. I'm sure our students are just soaking this in. I know Malika mentioned in the chat to take notes. I hope you all have been taking notes. If I weren't moderating, I know I would be taking notes just to kind of apply to my own kind of daily life and professional life as well. So thank you all so much for all this great insight and feedback that you're sharing. It's been super valuable. You all dropped gems throughout. So as we wrap up, I just want to give you all an opportunity if there's anything that you would like to leave our students with, as far as like any kind of last advice or last gem that you'd like to leave, or anything that you'd like to share about your organization or internship program that perhaps you didn't get the opportunity to voice earlier. I would like to provide a space for you all to just talk a little bit about that if you have anything to share. Alex, go ahead.
Thank you, Rian. So there's a lot of things happening here at Stay Open, right? We're taking, on the commercial real estate side, taking commercial real estate that's just sitting there and trying to find its highest and best purpose. From the perspective of the tech, we have, a tremendous roadmap that wants to reduce and eliminate a ton of friction that exists in hospitality. Like, you'd be surprised right now, but the Hilton has no idea how much they're making. They can't see that. There's no across. Sorry about that. We have some thugs in the office. There's no global join across the Hilton properties. And so, we're creating a single pane of glass view into everything from the operations to the hospitality side. There's a really great social aspect. We don't believe that, that people working at hotels need to be standing behind desks. We want them to be, engaged with the people, just like a mama of some property would. There's a beautiful side note here, which is that aside from the tech aspect, we really are sort of heart first. We really want human beings to connect. I have a daughter who's 13. I see her more and more disappearing into her iPhone. And so I'm building this so that there is an opportunity for people of a younger generation to realize how much fun it is to experience the amazing learning that happens when you're traveling. So if you're interested in any of those things, there's also really fun machine learning stuff here, but I won't talk about it too much because it's the secret sauce. But tremendous amount of machine learning, anything from transformer networks to all the standard stuff from scikits and onwards. Thank you.
No, thank you, Alex. Anyone else with any last piece of advice or anything that you'd like to share that you didn't have the opportunity to share earlier? Tanushree, please.
Yeah, thanks. So I would actually like this opportunity to highlight that it's very important, and this is a great time for all the students to actually develop their skills. And the way to do that is by creating projects that could leverage, that they can use to leverage their skills on the resume. And so I would just like to give an example for that. So when I was in my grad school, I was part of an organization called 180 Degrees Consulting. And through them, I got to know that a lot of small businesses around us, around the community that I was part of, they needed websites, but they didn't have the resources to actually build them beautifully. Now, coming from a tech background, I found this as a great opportunity to give back to the community, as well as to develop projects that I could later highlight on my resume. So I reached out to these people and then offered them my services, and we formed a small student organization around it. And we helped out all these people, and they were so happy with it. So I could combine my passion to give back to the community with my tech passion. So these are opportunities that are not very obvious, but if you could find things by looking around you, because there are so many small things that you have to notice and then turn them into opportunity, that would be a great way to stand out among millions around you. Also, there are many opportunities for people, there is a conference called Grace Hopper Conference, which women can participate in. And it's a great opportunity to actually meet all the powerful women around us. So make use of such resources. That's something I wanted to highlight.
It's great. Thank you so much. No, thank you. We have about 5 minutes left. Any last minute panelists want to contribute anything before we wrap up and head over to Brazen shortly? Going once, going twice. All right. Well, thank you all so much for coming and for sharing all of your great feedback. I really enjoyed it. I know the students enjoyed it a lot. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to get to the student questions, if any students had any questions that they might have wanted to ask, but that's all the more reason for you Trojans who are tuning in to head over to Brazen. So that networking session is going to start at 3:15. All of our lovely panelists are going to head over there with maybe some additional reps to chat with you one-on-one. So I saw some really great questions that were going into the chat about specific employers and the work that they do, and maybe asking for some advice. So you will have an opportunity to do that with them. Just get in line, you'll chat with them for 10 minutes or so, and you can get a chance to network and connect directly with them. So please make sure that you do that. Malika's been dropping the link in the chat for you to register. If you haven't done that already, it's not too late. If you have class, we are going to be on Brazen from 3:15 to 5 p.m. And if you have class during that entire time, then you can always try to drop by and maybe leave a note for our panelists that are going to be there, just so you can still connect with them maybe at a later time. So again, thank you all for coming. This is Career Fest Week. We have another session of I3 happening tomorrow. So we're super excited about that as well. We have the community, well, actually, wait, we have the first one that's happening. Which one is the first one? I'm blanking. I'm doing the community engagement, advocacy, education, and policy. That's going to happen from 2 to 5. And Malika is going to moderate the earlier one, which I don't know why it's left my brain. Maybe
biotechnology, healthcare, and sciences. It's not a big field at all during the pandemic. No one knows anything about that. It's not big on the news at all. I'm totally kidding, but it's going to be a great session. USC AMI will be there too. So excited to have you all.
Awesome. But thank you, Malika. she said it so perfectly earlier, and I was so jealous. I said, watch, when I do the panel, I'm going to forget one of them. And sure enough, look what happened. But it's okay, because we're in this together. All right. So again, thank you all for coming. Trojans, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate you all taking time out of your schedules to be here. So you all can head over to Brazen right now or at 3:15. Let us know if you need any support or if you have any questions. Malika, Lauren, and I will be there to support you all if you have any questions or need. Bye, grab a drink of water, whatever you need. But again, thank you all for coming. This has been a great panel. So cheers to all of you. Yay.
Here, Ian.